Yeah, Mr. Dion, I was wondering if you could tell us who you've met with so far and what sort of issues you've discussed. You mentioned some delegations, and I think you met with Mr. DeBoer. Could you maybe just expand on exactly who and what you've been talking about?
Not too much, please, because many of these delegates are very pleased to meet me, but don't want me to repeat what they told me, especially not in quoting them. But it's true that many of them agree with the understanding I just made about the situation in which we are. We should not argue for too long about these semantic differences of views on the way to name the new technological tool that the countries want to give to themselves, and we should focus on the openness that some countries like China are giving in saying that they are ready to take commitments. This would be, I think, an encouragement for all the developed countries, including Canada, to accept binding targets. And I met a lot of delegates, and I think this is the consensus that I have heard. Maybe it's the same that you have heard yourself. Please.
Developing country and developed countries?
There is, as you may know, since at least yesterday, a kind of difficulty to name the thing. And I will not take side. I don't think it's so important. What is important is to have a good technological transfers, to be sure that technological transfers are happening. You are spreading the solutions everywhere in the world. But to call it, I don't want to use the names that are in circulation. I don't think, I'm sure that the delegations are intelligent enough that they will find a solution to get out of this semantic debate right away and to focus on the real challenge, which is to be sure that the developing countries will have commitments and the developed countries will have binding targets. If I take side, I will put too much weight on this semantic debate. Please.
Hello, Catherine Cunningham, reporting for Science Avenue. And my question is, given that you're a past COP president, is it disconcerting to you that the climate dialogue is advanced to such urgency that to necessitate this strong focus on the adaptation fund, and so that climate change is happening and there are, people now suffering and anticipated greater suffering? If you could speak to that, and maybe in light of, maybe a message you would send to those countries that have not adopted.
Thank you to give me this opportunity. I just met one group that I met, the Arctic Arthabasca Council and the Inuit Circumpolar Council. They asked me to say that I met them, especially because before to come here in Bali, I was in Yukon and in the Northwest Territories in Canada. And I'm told to tell you how much it's true that climate change exists and is affecting these populations. Because when we speak about to avoid an increase of the temperature on the planet by 2 degrees, well, in the Arctic it's already more than 2 degrees. And it may be 4 to 6 degrees. It's not sure. The science is not clear how much it will be, but it's already the case. And they see the effect on their populations. Most of their infrastructures has been built on a firm permafrost. And it's not the case anymore. The permafrost is disappearing in many areas. And it will create a big, big problem for these communities. And all the consequences on the insects, on the animals at risk now, it's a change of culture almost that we are asking to these populations to have. Please, after this lead.
Toby Heaps from Corporate Knights. Mr. Dion, I was wondering if you've seen the Lieberman-Warner Act proposal that's going through the Senate right now, and there's a specific provision in there that calls for major trading partners of the United States to have to purchase emissions allowances when they import their products into the United States if they don't have a similar price on carbon. I was wondering, are you concerned that a provision like this might catch Canadian industry off guard, particularly our manufacturing, carbon-intensive manufacturing industry, or even our oil sands, which are carbon-intensive?
I think the WTO must now become an expert of climate change. To have these silos where trade is trade and when you discuss about climate change is something else is a big mistake, because what will happen more and more is that we will find a new kind of protectionism that will be legitimate, though, because it will be built on the necessity to push everybody in the back to save the planet. And if we don't work together, the people who care about the environment and the people who are focusing on trade and the economy, there is no solution. So it's time now, because you speak about the Congress of the United States, but as you know, some countries in Europe are speaking about the same. California is speaking about the same. And some Canadian government may have to wake up and to consider that they are very at risk to be boycotted if they don't act themselves. But Canada would not be the only country to be in this situation. So it's time now to join together these international bodies, the ones that are focusing on climate change and the ones that are focusing on the economy. Please.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. My name is Siti Khadija from Asian Young Leader Climate Forum. My question is, what do you think young leaders could do in order to influence the government to take action on this issue? Thank you.
I think it's very great that you are here and that you are doing that. I think the youth of the world is very, very concerned about this issue. And when we see in many countries the turnout at the election very low among the youth, we have an opportunity here to say that, no, your vote will make a difference. Well, not be too political, I will not speak about my own country. But I think if you look around the world, you see that some countries are more willing to help in Bali than others. It's because some young people decided to vote the good way. Politics make a difference. Please, here.
Hi, Mr. Dion. David Noble from 2 Degrees C. I was in a great side event a couple of days ago. There was a discussion on leadership and a suggestion that we need a new kind of leadership in the world, one that caters to humanity. And there was a suggestion that we don't have that now. What we have is a bunch of national leaders who use this global issue to further national interests. Can you comment on that? And if you agree, can you give some ideas on where that kind of leadership for humanity might come from?
I think that we need to fight against skepticism about climate change, but also skepticism about politics. There are people that are full of goodwill and willing to find solutions, realizing that their populations are ready to move as well. And there are people that are very traditional in their mind and think that the people will vote only for retail politics and short-term solutions. So I hope the ones that are able to challenge their population and said, don't vote only for the next election, but also for the next generation, will win. And I don't think we should give up. I think I will thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. As you see, I'm optimistic. I think we'll get out of this semantic debate in which we are now, and we'll focus on the open hand we have received from some countries, willing to take commitments, and let me tell you, it was not the case a few years ago. Thank you very much.